My name's Adam Manaka and I'm the Financial Controller for Hi-Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at Hi-Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. Hi-Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
After 5 rounds of the Swann Super Series across 14 competitive races, the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes comes down to the final round of the year as we crown our 2017 Australasian Superbike champion. Hello, I'm Lance Robertson and welcome along to a wet and dreary Sydney Motorsport Park. This season has witnessed an amazing David versus Goliath style championship fight between Lucas Vitali, who has the backing of the At1 Pro Race Suits team, and Brad Swallow, whose small, family-run outfit from Cessnock has punched well above its weight. As we come into this final round, it's Swallow that finds himself atop of the standings after turning a 20-point deficit at the end of round 4 into a 2-point advantage following Vitali's misfortunes in round 5. Throw into the mix the Suzuki of Brendan McIntyre, who is now 21 points within reach of Swallow, and the Yamaha of Simon Galloway, who mathematically is an outside chance, and you have a perfect Hollywood-style script for a championship finale.
Yeah, after round 5, we ended up picking up 1 extra point on Lucas Vitali, so it's going to make for an interesting last round. So yeah, we'll see how we go. It's anybody's race.
Yeah, so yesterday didn't turn out well. We entered that round, 20 points ahead, and I basically just lost my head in the last race and tucked the front. So it was mine to lose, and I'm looking at it like I have lost it. Now it's mine to win. So. Unfortunately today it is raining, it's going to be wet I think all day, so we're just going to have to play the weather as it comes and learn a thing or two and just gather up as much points as I can and stay on this time.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, I think everyone hoped for better weather than what we've had. It kind of played into my hands a little bit yesterday with the mixed conditions. Today looks like full wet, so I've got to find my feet on them. It's a little bit different to the slicks in semi-dry, damp conditions.
Yeah, that's it. Well, especially the top through. I think there's only 1 point or something between Lucas and Brad. Brendan's not far behind. So, yeah, no, it should be a good weekend. I wouldn't like to see anybody get hurt. So, hopefully everybody stays on the bike and it's a good, fair battle. And, we hope someone will win it.
Well, as you could see, our 4 championship protagonists are feeling rather nervous heading into this final round of the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes. Throw in the wet weather currently happening and you have a mixed bag of scenarios that could play out. Riders are on the track for the first of the day, so let's have a look at the grid. It's an all Kawasaki front row with Matthew Harding, Brad Swallow and Lucas Vitali filling out the first 3 positions. On the next row we have Brendan McIntyre, Simon Galloway and Dominic De Leon. Row 3 consists of Damien Sutton, Russell Holland and Brett Kitchen, whilst the 4th row is occupied by Tim Griffith, Luke Condren and Daniel Ayash. And the final row features Hamish McMurray and Brendan Watson.
In the starters' hands, here we go, this time it's for real. It is the Swann Super Series, round 6 and race 1 of the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes. Harding gets a good start, so too does Simon Galloway again. Brad Swallow's up there. Brendan McIntyre, not the best of starts for him. He's way back in about 7th. Brett Kitchen trying to get around the outside of Dominic De Leon. Here comes McIntyre up on the outside of Brett Kitchen. He's the rider in the blue livery. The Suzuki up against the BMW. but it's our race leader that gets through turns 2 and 3, and it is Simon Galloway, the man up out of the saddle, onto the gas a little bit too early. I was mentioning that he is a bit of a rainmaster, is Simon Galloway on the Yamaha, but look at the pair of Kawasaki's with Matt Harding and Brad Swallow in 2nd and 3rd respectively, following him through.
Yes, that was a very big moment there for Simon Galloway. They're lucky to stay on the bike there and didn't slow him down very much. He's got on the pace straight away again.
Well, he knows that mathematically he can take this championship out, but he needs to win, and he needs that's all he can do is finish first, and the rest is up to the others on how they finish. Brad Swallow back there in 3rd place. He is our points leader at the moment. As mentioned early on in the coverage of this one, he's only got a 2-point gap over Lucas Vitale, who's a little bit further back, and Brendan McIntyre in 3rd on 262 points. Out of turn 9 for the rundown iPone Oils for the first time, it is Simon Galloway on the Chris Watson Motorcycles Yamaha.
Yeah, great start by Simon to lead both the first and 2nd place on the grid there with Harding and Swallow. But like you said, lucky to stay on that bike there, Lance. Oh, you see, he's nearly out of the seat once again, not sparing any of the horsepower on that big Yamaha.
Well, down the main straight they come. A trio of Novocastrians. It is Simon Galloway ahead of Matt Harding and Brad Swallow in that order. Yamaha, Kawasaki. Then we've got Lucas Vitale and Dominic De Leon. Brett Kitchens up there. Brendan McIntyre, uncharacteristically further back than I would have expected him to be. Ayash, McMurray, Sutton, Holland, Griffith, Condren and Watson. They are your runners in this, the opening race of the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes, first of 3 encounters as part and parcel of the final round.
Yeah, just Brendan McIntyre not showing the form he had yesterday, is he there, Lance? He's way back there in 7th spot. That's 8 seconds off the lead at the moment, but Simon Galloway is the rider at the front. Brad Swallow's the fastest rider through Sector 1 at the moment.
Dominic De Leon doing a good job there, back in 5th place. His key rider, Lucas Vitale, in front. They're both part of the @1 Pro Race Suits team. But Brett Kitchen on his BMW doing a great job on board machine number 59. He split the two of them and is in 6th place.
Looks like McIntyre's lost another position there too. He's been overtaken by Ayash, so he's having not a very good race at all in race number 1 today.
Yeah, a little bit circumspect in the wet conditions. Perhaps not like these front 3 runners. Look at how far in front they are at the moment. You'll find that there's little less than a breath between the front 3 runners and then about an 8-second gap back to 4th place. Simon Galloway that it is that leads, completing lap 2 of 8. On the run down the Swann Insurance main straight, heading into turn 1, Races World. You can see Matt Harding. He's looking at slipstreaming him. Can he pull out? He's not able to. Not close enough to Galloway, but there's no need to risk anything at the moment because there's still another 6 laps to go.
Yeah, Matt Harding was 0.4 of a second quicker than Galloway that time around. Brad Swallow was a little bit quicker than Galloway as well, but seems to have dropped off the back. But he's closed right down as they go through turn 2 into Sydney Motorsport Park ride days.
Yeah, out of turn 3 for the run over the top of bikehaggle.com.au. This is an area that almost brought Simon Galloway unstuck on lap number 1. Up over the top of bikehaggle.com.au they go, and down into Dunlop. There's the distance back to Lucas Vitale in 4th place.
So it looks like Brad Swallow may increase his championship lead, but here comes McIntyre. Looks like he may have made a mistake earlier in the race because he's got another position back up at the moment.
Yeah, up the inside of Ayash and relegating him back to 8th. So he's now in 7th place as Brendan McIntyre. This 4-way battle for the minor placings, thrilling the crowd here at Sydney Motorsport Park.
Yeah, Dominic De Leon having a great race sitting there in front of Kitchen, but McIntyre, here comes, what's that? That's Brad Swallow overtaking Simon Galloway. So Simon's had a big moment somewhere around the circuit there, Lance, because Harding's got a bit of a gap on him.
Yeah, here comes Galloway back up the inside of Brad Swallow. Can he do it at the end of iPone? He can't. I think you're right. It must have been a mistake there on the... from Simon Galloway on the Chris Watson Motorcycles Yamaha, because both Kawasaki's are now out in front of him. Down the Swann Insurance main straight, it's Matt Harding that's leading at the moment. Here comes Galloway.
Yes, Galloway's got the better of Swallow down that there using the slipstream. Their fastest lap of the race now to Harding of 47.3. So the other rider, Swallow's got a 47.8 and Simon Galloway of 48.8. So it's Brad Swallow 1 second quicker than Galloway, but Galloway,
Wow, did you see that Swallow round the outside of Galloway in turn 2?
no expense spared around turn 2 there, Sydney Motorsport Park ride days. He wants that position at the front of the field.
Here is a replay of what happened there. Matt Harding just goes Brad Swallow just goes right round the outside of Simon Galloway. Not much room, but enough to be able to still maintain the power down to the ground in a very precarious position.
Ayas is having a great ride here as well, one of the best we've seen from him for a while.
He's doing a great job, but none better than Matt Harding leading the field. We thought that he may be the cat amongst the pigeon, the spoiler of the point score. Brad Swallow, our championship leader, has extended his lead. If he finishes right now and the race was declared, he would still be leading the championship. Third place on the road at the moment, Simon Galloway and Lucas Vitali, the closest contender to Swallow, back in fourth place with Brendan McIntyre. Third in the championship point score, up into fifth.
This is lap 5 of 8, so there'll be 3 laps to go when they cross the line next time around.
There's a lot to gain by Simon Galloway finishing ahead of Brad Swallow in this race, because the final podium position in the championship race is not decided either, with Brendan McIntyre and indeed Simon Galloway battling it out for that.
Here he seems to be having a few moments, Simon Galloway, getting that bike wriggling around quite a bit, sticking behind, but here comes Harding in now. Has he increased that lead? It was 3.4 seconds last time. Look at Simon Galloway, the speed of that Yamaha machine. It just but Brad Swallow up the inside again.
Yeah, Swallow just maintaining that position of second over Galloway. Galloway trying very hard. That gap that you mentioned, Tim, has increased by over half a second now. It is 4.02 between Harding and Swallow and Galloway are going to battle this one out right down to the checkered flag.
Yeah, Matt Harding the fastest lap, the only rider into the 46s so far.
Brett Kitchen round the outside there, I think you'll find, of Lucas Vitali.
That's Ayesh. I think there you're on his Ducati machine.
The fastest lap confirmation there, Tim, a 146.876 by Matt Harding. Oh, Ayesh trying to get up the inside there of Brett Kitchen, who ran a little bit wide and then cut back across him.
Yeah, going very wide through that turn, giving Ayesh a bit of a sniff to get up the inside. Looks like McIntyre's pulled away from this fight as well. But out the front, it's still Harding and Swallow.
This is the battle for 6th and 7th placing, Tim. Doing a good job to be able to keep it on the black stuff and upright.
Yes, only a bit over 1 lap to go. Here comes McIntyre improving another position up the inside of Vitale. So that's not going to be too good for Vitale's championship aspirations. We're giving Brad Swallow a bit more of a gap.
Yeah, Brad Swallow's lead will extend in the championship. And the battle between Simon Galloway and Brendan McIntyre will continue as well for the final podium position in the championship race. So down the Swann Insurance main straight for the second last time, I should say, commencing their final lap, it is Matt Harding that is doing all of the effort out in front, and the chasing very hard as Brad Swallow, another second less in time. Yes. So what was a 4-second gap over 2 laps is reduced down to a 1-second gap.
Yeah, so definitely on the pace is young Brad Swallow, another 46-second lap to Harding's 47. So he's 1 second quicker that time around, with a 1 second gap between the front.
And 1 lap to do it in. Here they come up over the top of bikehaggle.com.au for the final time. Brad Swallow certainly has Matt Harding in his sights. Out of Dunlop Sportsmax right-hander into Dunlop Sportsmax left-hander. Up over the hill into bikebiz.com.au. I reckon Brad Swallow can do it from here.
Yeah, that gap's dropped down to half a second now, so he's definitely reeling in Matt Harding out front there for the leading position on the track. 2
laps ago, Brad Swallow was 4 seconds in arrear of Matt Harding. 1 lap ago, he was 2 seconds in arrear. Now he's right up onto the rear cowling. There's only 3 more corners to go. The run out of Freight Links Transport, down Ipone Oils back straight, into the Matrice Dampers, final 2 turns for the final time. Brad Swallow has come from a 4-second deficit to be challenging in the last corner. He pokes his nose up the inside of fellow Nova Castri and Matt Harding, who will get the best drive out of Matrice Dampers, and the run down the Swann Insurance Main Straight. Brad Swallow it is chasing Matt Harding. Harding's going to hold him off by the looks of it. A great effort for Matt Harding. He takes it out in a narrow margin. A great challenge thrown out by Brad Swallow though. Third place goes to Simon Galloway, our early race leader.
Brendan McIntyre was next aboard his Suzuki, followed by Lucas Vitale, Tim Griffith, Daniel Ayash and Hamish McMurray. Dominic De Leon failed to finish, whilst Brett Kitchen was excluded post-race by the officials for a technical infringement.
Yeah, I could see Brad coming and I was just looking for that last lap board, but we got there in the end. I'd rather it be dry, but I just don't like the in-between, so either fully wet or fully dry, and I'm happy.
Yeah, look, you know, obviously the wet session there, just before we went out, I saw that bit of a dark cloud blowing over, so, you know, I didn't want to go too hard at the start, you know, keeping in mind that that cloud was coming over, and if it was going to hit us, and, you know, some people might fall off, and, you know, want to play the race as safe as we can.
It was pretty slippery out there. It's pretty trying conditions, and yeah, but it was good fun, bit of a battle with the boys, and they were a bit braver than me, and I thought I've got to go to work on Monday, so I just settle in here in third. It's fine with me.
1 race down and 2 to go in the final round, and Brad Swallow remains in the box seat. Will the rain stick around for the remaining races, or will it dry up? You'll know more on the other side of this break. It's a well-known fact that motor racing is a dangerous sport, and the care for rider safety is always of paramount importance at every racetrack in Australia, because the risks of suffering a potential injury or fatality are always high. At Sydney Motorsport Park, the hard-working crew from Ambulance Service Australia are the first on the scene in the event of any accident.
My name's Michael and I'm the Clinical Director for Ambulance Service Australia, who run the medical centre at Sydney Motorsport Park. We've got 5 staff here working today, and we've got 2 ambulances and 1 fast car, which is the Volvo. So normally what would happen, we'll follow the bikes for the first lap of the race, so that if there is a crash on the first lap, we can be there very quickly. And then subsequent to that, if a rider crashes, the race will be stopped and the fast car will go out and get backed up with the ambulance vehicle. They're treated, assessed. We make a determination as to the priority of the patient, and then organise appropriately outside medical services such as New South Wales Ambulance, and or we'll contact the retrieval teams, who will send a doctor and specialist paramedic.
It's fair to say that the dedication to rider safety by the Ambulance Service Australia team is second to none, and they've been quite busy so far this weekend with a few incidents which fortunately no one was injured, we're pleased to say. We are readying ourselves for race 2, and much like round 5, the track conditions have improved since the opening race, but there's still some damp sections around the circuit, and this is still causing some concern. That said, Lucas Vitale and Simon Galloway have opted to change to slick tyres for the race, and they'll start from pit lane. So here's how they'll line up. Matt Harding and Brad Swallow will line up on the front row, with Simon Galloway starting from pit lane. Also starting from pit lane is Lucas Vitale, who was to start from 5th on the second row with Brendan McIntyre and Tim Griffith. Rows 3 and 4 are occupied by Daniel Ayash, Hamish McMurray, Dominic De Leon and Brett Kitchen. Damien Sutton has opted to sit out this race, along with Russell Holland, Luke Condren and Brendan Watson.
So in the starter's hand, 8 laps duration, race 2 of 3 of the bikehaggle.com.au Superbike class as part and parcel of the Swann Super Series 2017. Getting a fairly jumpy start was Brad Swallow. Still not able to get the front wheel fully on the ground, but he takes up the running ahead of Matt Harding in second, and I think you'll find that that is the number 6 of Brendan McIntyre up into third.
Yeah, that is Brendan McIntyre on his Suzuki there, and looks like Dominic De Leon behind him. So Dominic's had a great start as well.
So it's Brad Swallow on his Kawasaki, under pressure from fellow Nova Castri and Matt Harding, also on a Kawasaki. The Suzuki of Brendan McIntyre up into third place.
Yes, a great start there by Brad Swallow. As you can see, they're going into that Dunlop Sports makes turn 4. It's still a bit damp in that part of the circuit.
Dominic De Leon doing a good job on his at-one pro race suits Kawasaki in 4th.
Yeah, excellent ride by him at the moment. I'd like to see where Lucas Vitale was when he started from pit lane, and Simon Galloway as well, I think, started from pit lane, so we'll see where they are as they cross the line for the first time.
Matt Harding tried very hard on the exit of bikebiz.com.au to get around Brad Swallow. Swallow said, thank you very much, but I'll have none of that. I've got a championship to win, and as much as I'd like to be able to let you go past me because you're a good bloke because you come from Newcastle, I'm not going to do so.
Yes, that's exactly right. But Matt Harding still riding fairly well. Brad Swallow's in the lead and extending his championship lead if he stays in this position.
Brendan McIntyre on the Western Motorcycles 7 Friday. Rick Pobjoy Suzuki looming up larger than life onto the rear end of Matt Harding's Kawasaki. 3 wide, side by side. Look at that, McIntyre right round the outside of them and takes up the running.
That definitely has the mumbo now, that new Suzuki, doesn't it? Like we mentioned a few times before, he's been waiting for that all year. And it's great to see that Suzuki out here racing. Here comes Harding around the outside of Brad Swallow.
How do you do that in turn 2?
A big manoeuvre there by Matt Harding into turn 2, but it looks like he was doing something to the machine. They're adjusting something at the front of the bike.
Whatever it was, it didn't look good, did it?
No, it didn't. So, but looked like he's pulled a bit of a gap. Here's a replay of that.
Going around the outside, did he actually catch hold of something on Brad Swallow's bike? It was very, very close indeed. No, it didn't look like he did, but when he came out of here, changed up a gear. Very interesting, but a great manoeuvre around the outside, wasn't it? Oh, Lucas Vitale's off.
Yeah, Lucas Vitale just got the better of Brad Swallow as well, so that would say Lucas Vitale's championship's done and dusted there, Lance, but
yeah.
He's very unhappy, kicks the machine there, but just got into 3rd position. And looks like that's turn 3 once again.
Yeah, Brad Swallow, all he's got to do is finish this one and he'll have one hand on the trophy. Brendan McIntyre, in the meantime, he needs to maximise the points he possibly can. 50 points if he finishes in front of Harding. Only 40, 10 less if he finishes behind him. Brad Swallow, he's back in 3rd place. He'll get 38 points. Yeah, Lucas is not all that happy, is he? Not very happy at all.
He's just seen his championship aspirations just fade away in one fell swoop there.
Well, we can show you what happened from Lucas Vitale's perspective, and this is what happened in real time. Just your textbook low side fall, negotiating races world turn 1, and no wonder Vitale is angry with himself. He knows the championship has slipped well and truly from his grasp.
Brad Swallow's riding a little bit defensively at the moment, riding well within himself, you'd have to say.
Well, conservatively, I think, is probably the way to put it, Tim, because he knows the championship is his if he finishes both races.
Yep.
It doesn't really matter where McIntyre or Galloway come. It will make a difference between Galloway and McIntyre where they finish in terms of 3rd placing, but it certainly won't have any stranglehold on the championship or ramifications on the championship itself.
Yeah, still half a race distance to go. Simon Galloway's definitely closed right down onto Brad Swallow now, having a big look up the iPhone back straight. Looks like he's overtaken Brad.
Yep. Up onto the podium goes Simon Galloway. Still Matt Harding under pressure from Brendan McIntyre. He'll want to finish as strongly as he possibly can. Remembering yesterday, he took his maiden round victory on a Superbike and was pretty happy about it too, Tim.
Yes, he was very happy. He's had a great weekend, if you really have to say, wouldn't you? It's the best weekend we've seen him have for quite some time. Fastest lap of the race so far, a 38.5. So he's going quite good at the moment. Let's see who's got the pace once again down the iPhone back straight and down the Swann Insurance main straight, because that Suzuki has definitely showed the pace.
Out of 4, through 5, up to bikebiz.com.au. McIntyre Almost looks as though he's given up a little bit there, or is it the fact that Matt Harding has answered the challenge and run away a little bit further?
Yes, I think, well, here he comes, McIntyre. He hasn't given up yet there, Lance.
What an idiot I am. Brendan McIntyre giving up on a race victory? Ha! Never in a month of Sundays. Down the iPhone back straight. Up the inside he tries of Matt Harding as they enter Matrice Dampers. Wasn't able to go on with it. Certainly had the pace but didn't have the racing line. Out of 11, down the main straight they go.
Yes, he's right on the back wheel now of Matt Harding, and we saw a couple of times how fast that bike is, and can he get the slipstream, and it looks like he's going to do it up the inside very fast. Into Races World Turn 1, there is Brendan McIntyre.
Can he maintain the racing line? He needs to block any challenges from Harding. This is the answer. And look at him, the Suzuki, just firing away from the Kawasaki.
Yeah, once in front, he's definitely made a big gap, hasn't he? But here he goes, a replay of the overtaking manoeuvre into Races World Turn 1. And from this point here, Lance, he just seemed to pull away.
Out into bikebiz.com.au, Swallow answers the challenge. He wants to finish in 4th place. More points for him, closer to the championship win.
Yeah, that's exactly right there. So it's a lot of pressure there by Dominic. Dominic's having a good ride. But here's the battle out in front at the moment. It is all McIntyre and Harding in this second last lap of the race. A big move there by Harding. He was lucky not to take McIntyre out there, but gee, he closed down the gap, didn't he?
He certainly did. He's come on very strong. I thought he'd given up on the challenge. Brad Swallow at the end of the Swann Insurance main straight through Races World.
Looks like Simon Galloway's having a fairly lonely 3rd place at the moment. So Brad Swallow still maintaining that slender lead over Dominic De Leon. So the conditions still aren't up to scratch as they were yesterday. They went down to 133s yesterday.
Yeah, very interesting to look at the differences in times from yesterday to today. But again, the track has really only just dried off, hasn't it, Tim?
Yeah, just dried off there. So look at McIntyre now.
For the run down this 1,000 metre, 1 kilometre long main straight, it is still Brendan McIntyre on the Western Motorcycles. 7 Friday, Rick Pobjoy, GSX Suzuki, leading Matt Harding on board the K&R Hydraulics Kawasaki Connection ZX-10R.
Yes, he hasn't given up. There's still some time, about 3/4 of a lap to go for Matt Harding to try and get in front, and he's trying very hard. Simon Galloway just crossing the line in 3rd spot, so he's 24 seconds behind the lead group at the moment, and the battle between Brad Swallow and Dominic De Leon there, a big overtaking. Dominic De Leon nearly went up the inside of Swallow, but Swallow went round the outside. But that's Tim Griffith. He's closed right down on these two.
He's come on very strong in the final stages of this one. Look at him looming up behind the back of Dominic De Leon. Gets good drive out of turn 2. Sydney Motorsport Park ride days. Oh, balked a little bit there. In the meantime, our race leader, he's heading the field through Freightlink's Transport for the final time. Matt Harding chasing hard on Brendan McIntyre. McIntyre wants his 3rd victory of the weekend. Race 1 yesterday, race 2 yesterday, 4th place in race 3. He wants to repeat this one here after getting a 4th earlier on today. He'll want to finish on top of the run. At the moment, here comes Matt Harding, the Kawasaki right behind him. Out of the final turn, Matrice Dampers, a run down Swann Insurance main straight. Will it be the Suzuki? Will it be the Kawasaki? Right on the line, Harding gets it by 0.008 of a second.
So here's how they finish race 2. Harding edges McIntyre narrowly to take the win. Simon Galloway finished in 3rd with Dominic De Leon in 4th, Brad Swallow in 5th, and Tim Griffin rounding out the top 6.
Obviously it's been a bit wet today and the track was drying there, so some spots where I would have liked to try and pass it, I was just trying to stay on my bike because like turn 9 was quite wet. Sort of starting to sprinkle a bit too, so it was probably a little bit easier with Brendan leading, and he got to test the conditions first and I guess just got there in the end.
I seen him coming up my left and I was like at the top of 5th gear, flashlight was going. I'm like, do I hold it? Do I change it? What's going to get me across there quicker? And, I thought, he might have just got me by the rubber thickness,
Yeah, it was, mate. I went out in that first lap and thought, nah, it's too dry for the complete wet, so I only had time to come in and change the rear only. And it's pretty sketchy riding around on the dry tar with a wet front tyre. It's like marshmallows.
So Matt Harding takes another race win, but Brad Swallow is now in the prime position to take out the championship heading into the final race, with Lucas Vitali now fighting an uphill battle to reclaim the top spot. We'll bring you that race later on, but right now it's time for the Stars of Tomorrow race for C and D grade riders. It's the last one for the year, and as we take a look at the grid, on the screen there's a wide variety of riders and machines from across all of the classes in the Swann Super Series. And like the opening Superbike race, conditions are less than ideal.
I think you'll find that Tim Griffith will get the whole shot there with no one else on 2 rows behind him.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. Away they go, we're underway, 6 laps is the journey. My goodness me, who was that coming out of the field like a startled gazelle? I think you'll find it was the 26 of Ernest Brook on the exclusive Bodyworks Metzler Kawasaki ZX6R. He's not got the whole shot, but he certainly made up a mile of room from the start.
Yes, he has made a mile of room there, but who's that going up through the field there? Looks like the conditions are getting a little bit more tricky as well, with the rain starting to fall once again.
Looking at who it is that's leading this race as they come out of turn 2 into turn 3 for the run up over the top of bikehaggle.com.au and down into Dunlop Sportsmax. It is our pole sitter Tim Griffith that leads at the moment, Tim.
Yes, and he's hasn't got all his own way. The other riders have really caught up to the back of his machine at the moment, but who was that? That was Mulcahy nearly getting up the inside there, but excellent manoeuvre there. Brumby's there as well. Kavanagh, Martin, Rossi Eni, Hamish McMurray as well. So he's up there in 7th position. So all punching up onto the lap 1 of the circuit.
Shane Ryan doing a good job also on board machine number 39. As they come around the back of Corporate Hill, it is Ryan that gets up the inside of Griffith at the moment. Griffith, though, cuts the nose off in no uncertain terms in Freightlink's Transport. Look at this 3 and 4 wide. Lucky there's plenty of concrete and tarmac on the outside of that one. Running very wide indeed, I think you'll find, was Ernest Brook.
Yes, Ernest out there as well on number...
It's actually Brooke Ernest.
Brooke Ernest on number 26. So we have Neil Brumby's moved up the field too on his machine, number 14. So he's going quite well as well.
Also coming on very strong there on screen was the number 97 of Kavanagh, Josh Kavanagh.
Yeah, look at the rain coming down now, Lance. Definitely getting heavier, making the situation a lot more tricky.
Yeah, conditions deteriorating at the early stage of this 6-lap duration. But it is still Griffith that leads Ryan, Kavanagh, Brumby, Rosny, Mulcahy, McMartin, McMurray, Mahone, Pereira, Ernest, and rounding up your top 12 is Franco. Griffith, though, that leads, but not for long. There's Ryan up the inside, and look at this, 3 wide down into Freightlink's Transport.
Yes, nothing separating the top 4 at the moment in this class, but 2 minutes 2 second laps there for the standing start.
Yeah, so Ryan, it is on board machine number 39. That is Shane Ryan on the Architectural Carpentry Services Yamaha R1 that's leading at the moment. Josh Kavanagh a little bit further back on machine number 97 doing a good job. And right behind them is the number 18 of Tim Griffith on the Coolman Logistics Kawasaki ZX10R that's just gone right round the outside and takes up the running at the end of the Swann Insurance Main Straight.
Yes, look at the rain come down now, Lance. There's a couple of riders going really wide there, going through Racers World. Kavanagh up the inside now, moving into, what's that, 2nd place on the road. So he's had a good race. Big battle here between these riders here with Rossi Eni as well. Griffith out in front. the lap time has dropped down to 1:54. That time fastest rider was Rossi Eni on bike number 25, a 1:53.9. So still pretty quick times there for that rider on his Yamaha R1.
Yeah, Stephen Rossini doing a great job there. Just a little bit behind this field, but certainly mixed. Oh, he's actually got up the inside now and overtaken Ryan. So he moves up into third place. Here's a replay now of the number 39 of Shane Ryan getting up the inside momentarily and then getting a little bit squirrely under power.
Well, that's why Rossiini get a bit of a chance there. That is
race leader Griffin, isn't it? Is that Tim Griffin?
Can't quite see that number there. That's
Griffith, I beg your pardon.
Here comes a big move too by Rossiini up the inside of Kavanagh. He's going to hold that line. No, he's not. Gone a little bit wide there.
Switchback, the classy switchback, able to maintain race pace and extend the lead that he had going into that turn.
Yes, very difficult part of that track there, especially in these conditions. Tight defensive line going into turn 9 there, Freight Links Transport. But rain getting harder and harder as the day goes on.
At the end of Iphone, coming into Matrice Dampers, it is the lone WA Inox lubricant MPR Motorcycles Comet Racing Levers. As we've got another pass there on first place again.
Yes, it's a big move there, but
here's a replay of that passing manoeuvre in the final turn. You can see him just poke his nose up the inside. Rossini, a very bold manoeuvre indeed. Kavanagh giving him the room that he needed.
It's half a lap to go now. Has Kavanagh got any answer to the number 25 of Rossiini?
I think you'll find that it's only Rossini's to lose from here. Kavanagh's not close enough to be able to mount a challenge with only a couple of corners to go. At the end of Iphone Oil's back straight, heading into Matrice Dampers for the final time. He was challenged for 3/4 of the race, but has led the last quarter in fine style on his Yamaha. Stephen Rossini will take this one out in what ends up being a relative canter after being challenged hard by Josh Kavanagh, who can't do anything about it in the latter stages.
Yes, very happy as he crossed the line was Rossiini.
Stephen Rossini finishing ahead on his Yamaha of Josh Kavanagh in second. Nathan Brumby, a fine third place battle with Shane Ryan, Daniel McCartan and Matthew Franco. P7 taken out by Noel Mahone. Brooke Ernest in 8th. 9th goes to Eduardo Pereira, and rounding up your top 10 is Hamish McMurray.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's my first weekend to ever race too, so I'm pretty happy with the result. I felt pretty comfortable in the rain, so that helped me. I'm not as comfortable in the dry, so yeah, really enjoyed it.
Well, folks, there's one more Superbike race of 2017 to come, where a new champion will be crowned. Join us on the other side of this break to find out who it will be. Thanks for joining us again here at Sydney Motorsport Park as we get ourselves ready for the final race of the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes for 2017. The championship equation is quite simple for Brad Swallow. If Brendan McIntyre wins the race, he needs to finish no lower than 4th to win the championship. As for Lucas Vitali, he needs to win, and the others need to drop out of the race if he is to claim back the championship he's led all season long. So for the final time this year, let's have a look at the grid. The front row was to have Matthew Harding on pole with McIntyre and Simon Galloway, but Harding has withdrawn due to family reasons. Dominic De Leon, Swallow and Tim Griffith will start off row 2. Daniel A. Ash will start off row 3, along with Lucas Vitali and Brett Kitchen, followed by Hamish McMurray and Damien Sutton, who round out the field. Russell Holland, Luke Condren and Brendan Watson won't be facing the starters' orders.
In the starters' hands and we're underway. Galloway got a blinder, but none better than McIntyre on the outside. The Suzuki. Here comes Dominic De Leon. Round the outside in the Kawasaki, taking up second place. So it's McIntyre, De Leon, Galloway. Then we have Swallow up around the outside of 1, make that 2. Right round the outside of Dominic De Leon, up into second place. He knows that he's got to finish high. He knows that all he's got to do is finish in the top 5 or 6, and he'll take away this championship for 2017.
Yeah, what can you say about that start from De Leon? He was right there, but that big manoeuvre into Sydney Motorsport Park right days by Brad Swallow that was impressive.
Certainly piloted that Kawasaki Australia Kawasaki connection. ZX-10R into second place in fine style, but Brendan McIntyre it is that leads this one.
Yeah, and look at Brad Swallows going with Brendan McIntyre. He knows he's got to do that to actually take the title. Simon Galloway's down behind the 2 Kawasaki, the @1 Racing Team Kawasaki's.
Well, all Brendan McIntyre can do is do what he's doing right now, and that's lead the race right through this 8-lap encounter and greet the checkered flag ahead of anybody else. What happens behind him, he cannot control, and all he can do is do the best that he can at the moment.
Yes, and it looks like that Vitale has got the better of his teammate Dominic De Leon.
All 7 of these riders, 8 of these riders, all within a breath of each other as they cross the stripe line to complete lap number 1. It will be Brendan McIntyre ahead of Brad Swallow, Dominic De Leon, Lucas Vitale, then Dominic De Leon. Simon Galloway has dropped back a little bit. He's in 6th place. Damien Sutton, Ayash and McMurray rounding up your 9 runners.
Here comes Simon Galloway now up the inside of Dominic De Leon. A big move there, but he's gone a little bit wide there. Bit balked there was he going through turn 2 there, Sydney Motorsport Park ride days, but Dominic De Leon now has moved back into 5th position.
Out of turn 3, the run over the top of bikehaggle.com.au down into Dunlop Sportsmax. It is the Western Motorcycle 7 Friday Rick Pobjoy Suzuki of Brendan McIntyre, yesterday's 5th round victor. Here we've got a replay now of that overtaking manoeuvre. Firstly of Galloway getting up the inside of De Leon. He runs a little bit wide, tries to tip the bike in and finds that De Leon has cheekily reclaimed that position again.
Yes, he sure has, and the big mover is De Leon's teammate at the moment. Lucas Vitale, who's closing right down onto Swallow in 2nd spot, and McIntyre as well in our 1st.
Out of turn 9 for the run down Ione Oils back straight. Lucas Vitale has taken up the challenge as well. He's trying as hard as he possibly can to overcome the Kawasaki connection ZX-10R piloted or mounted Brad Swallow.
Looks like Vitale's got a bit of a broken fairing too down the bottom, scraping along the ground there, probably from his previous incident in race number 2.
One of the clips may have come undone. Aerodynamics are not very conducive when that sort of thing's happened, is it?
That's right, but look at Vitale now closing right down onto the back of Swallow. Fastest lap to McIntyre, 35.0. Vitale definitely closing now onto the back wheel of Brad Swallow's Kawasaki.
Pretty respectable time of Vitale, a 35.069.
Yeah, top 3 riders in the 35s, the ones behind 36, 37s. So it's a good ride there by all the front runners. Brad Swallow still maintaining that 2nd spot on the road, but it's all Brendan McIntyre at the moment.
Out in front by a good 1 second margin over Brad Swallow, who is set to be the champion-elect, should he stay where he is. Lucas Vitale, how much would he rue the activities of a problem yesterday in turn 9, a problem in another area of the circuit today, which meant that he did not score any points in either of those races.
Yeah, so that would be possible 75 points that he's given up. But it's all McIntyre at the moment. He's looking for another 50 points added to his tally for the year.
Out of the final turn, Matrice Dampers, the run down the Swann Insurance main straight, completing lap 3 of 8, starting lap 4. Brendan McIntyre doing a great job on the Suzuki. debuting it in this series here at Sydney Motorsport Park yesterday and took out his maiden victory in a round.
Yeah, 3 out of 3 yesterday. Two wins and a fourth yesterday for McIntyre, so a very good day, you'd have to say. All the pressure now is on Brad Swallow by Lucas Vitale.
Realistically, he doesn't need to even get involved in a battle with Lucas Vitale. All he needs to do is make sure that he keeps the bike upright for the remaining 4 laps, or 4.5 laps of this race, Tim, and he'll be crowned the 2017 bikehaggle.com.au Superbike champion.
And wouldn't that be kudos for the youngster from up in Cessnock area?
Absolutely. Out of turn 8, down towards turn number 9. Freight Links Transport Corner. Dunlop control tyres being used throughout the series, certainly testing the limits of their adhesion in this one, although having had wet weather tyres in the first couple of races, one would imagine that, as Brad Swallow mentioned in his interview last time out, that he may have kept the qualifying tyre to be able to get the best possible rubber that he had left over.
Well, that's got to be a much an advantage for Brad Swallow against the other riders if they haven't done the same thing. So it looks like he's pulling a little bit of away now. Fastest lap now to McIntyre, 1:34.5. 1:34.5 for McIntyre now, fastest lap, a 34.5 for Brad Swallow as well, and a 34.8.
Well, whatever they've kept in the way of Dunlop control tyres has certainly worked for them, because each of them have had an opportunity of breaking their of the fastest lap on the circuit, a 1:34.537.
Yes, it's all on the same lap too, so they're keeping a constant pace between each other. But at the moment, it is all McIntyre.
Dominic De Leon now under a bit of pressure from Tim Griffith, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, he's having a good ride here on this race, Tim Griffith on his Kawasaki.
So it's Kawasaki against Kawasaki, heading up into bikebiz.com.au on lap 5 of 8.
It's going to be very close at the front. Still McIntyre leads. This is a great battle here for the minor placings. De Leon 5th and Griffith in 6th position.
Here he is, Brendan McIntyre, on board the Western Motorcycles 7 Friday, Rick Pobjoy Suzuki. Right behind him, Kawasaki Australia, Kawasaki Connection mounted ZX10R rider Brad Swallow. And behind him is Lucas Vitale on board machine number 88.
Yeah, it looks like McIntyre's made a little bit of a mistake, because that gap now is dropped down to only half a second. So anything can happen now with only a couple of laps remaining.
Vitale on the At1 race suits, first place building contrast printing ZX10R. Dropped off the pace a little bit that last couple of laps, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. But still a 34.5 fastest lap so far. The gap has moved up to 0.6 of a second now, so maintaining that sort of 0.6, 0.5 second gap is Brad Swallow to the leader McIntyre.
Out of the final turn for the run down the main straight. This is lap 6 being completed, starting their penultimate lap, and it is Brendan McIntyre still leading, a 1:35.249 that time. Tim, a little bit slower than his fastest lap, but still well and truly on the pace.
Yeah, Vitale's just done his fastest lap at 34.6, as well as Simon Galloway's got a 35.9, so dropped off the pace a little bit, and another boring race for Simon Galloway.
Yeah, a little bit lonely has been his rides this weekend, or at least today anyway. Brendan McIntyre, Brad Swallow, Lucas Vitale, Simon Galloway and Dominic De Leon are your front runners, your top 5.
Yes, like you said, only about a lap and a half to go in the final race of the year.
Up over the top of bikehaggle.com.au is this battle for 5th and 6th.
And De Leon still in 5th spot. He's broken a bit away from Tim Griffith at the moment.
In the meantime, though, Brad Swallow's on the other side of the circuit.
Yes, he's still got Vitale chasing him down there, with McIntyre still out in front. McIntyre's had a great weekend on that brand new Suzuki.
Down the Swann Insurance main straight, you can see the lead that Brendan McIntyre has extended over that last couple of laps. He's on the final lap.
Yes, the gap's gone up to 1.5 seconds now, so he's really pulled the pin. 0.2 of a second back to Vitale. So Brad Swallow, still a lot of pressure for him to stay in second spot.
74 points scored by Brendan McIntyre so far. Brad Swallow on 72, 100 points to Matt Harding. So with another 50 points here, it could well secure another round victory to Brendan McIntyre.
Yes, and that's 2 in a row, so he'd be very happy with that after taking round 5 yesterday. So McIntyre's just pulled another fastest lap of 34.4 now, so and Brad Swallow at 34.5. 34.6 for Vitale, so nothing separating these three riders at the front.
Just a quick calculation sees 124 points, 112 and 100 respectively for Brendan McIntyre, Brad Swallow and Matthew Harding, who has not even contested this third and final race.
Yes, it looks like McIntyre's got this one in the bag, and so with Brad Swallow in second spot, so only the final corners through Matria's dampers to go for Brendan McIntyre, so he's had an excellent weekend.
Out of the final turn for the run down to the checkered flag, it is Brendan McIntyre on the Western Motorcycles 7 Friday. Rick Pobjoy Suzuki taking not only victory in this third and final race, but also for the round of 2017, round number 6 of the Swann Super Series. Second place to Brad Swallow, third to Lucas Vitale. This battle here, Simon Galloway gets fourth, Dominic De Leon gets the upper hand over Damien Sutton.
So here are the results for the final race of 2017. Well done to Brendan McIntyre, he's your winner. Ahead of your new champion, the Kawasaki Motors Australia Kawasaki Connection mounted Brad Swallow. Lucas Vitale salvages a disastrous weekend to finish third ahead of Simon Galloway. Then it's Dominic De Leon and Tim Griffith who wins the Formula Extreme C and D grade class. Damien Sutton who takes out the Formula Oz A grade title, and Daniel Ayash and Hamish McMurray round out the field. So to the victors go the spoils, and they belong in 2017 to Brad Swallow and his small family-run team, along with the assistance of Matt Walters from Kawasaki Connection. And now it's time to do some celebrating. Well, let's have a look at the final championship points, and it's congratulations once again to Brad Swallow, your Australasian Superbike champion on 395 points. But look who finished second overall, it's the Western Motorcycle Suzuki of Brendan McIntyre, who finished only 8 points adrift to Swallow. For Lucas Vitale, it's very much a case of what could have been, going from first to third overall in the final wash-up. Simon Galloway and Dominic De Leon complete the top 5.
Brendan was doing an awesome job out there. I knew if he won, I had to at least get fourth or higher. So yeah, I pretty much just had to ride there and not do anything silly. Yeah, can't take that away from them all. It's just how racing goes, I suppose. It wouldn't be up here without the team.
Can I say, first of all, massive congratulations to Brad Swallow. Look, I know I'll just call it what it is. It's a low-budget effort that they put in. It's similar to us, but he doesn't get a lot of testing. And if someone can get behind him more, he's one of these guys amongst a few other young blokes that they've really got places to go if the sport's got something to offer them.
Oh, a little let down, a bit down on myself, but yeah, they're all stupid mistakes that I made. The bike was fine. Yeah, just really need to thank the At1 Pro Race Suits team and BC Performance for giving me a race-winning package. I just couldn't ride the thing.
Well, what a way to finish the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes. A massive congratulations to every rider that contested this season, and a big thank you as well to bikehaggle.com.au for their support. But we still have more to come from the final round of the Swann Super Series, with the Matrice Dampers Super Sports and AM Sport 600s ready to rumble the next time we go racing.